Hi, all. Welcome to Radiant Guidance. My name is Molly. I'm an astrologer bringing you the temporal waves or the cosmic weather for September 2024. If you're new to my channel, you can book a private reading with me, which is much more personal than these general forecasts, at the booking link below in the description. Let me recap August before we get all carried away in September. Now, August, especially the 19th, with that full moon squaring Uranus, was a crazy time. We were just coming off the Mars square to Saturn, and that same full moon day, the 19th, we had Jupiter squaring Saturn. For me personally, I almost got T-boned by someone running a red light, and luckily we both stopped in time. I also witnessed a near accident, and my friend witnessed a 3-car pileup. So when I talk about days of intensity in these transit reports, take them with caution, heed them. We got to live our lives, but we can have extra conscientiousness to be aware of our surroundings. And sometimes stuff just happens, but with awareness, we can actually really be mindful and avoid a lot of mishaps. I also made the rookie mistake of selling something over the retrograde, a big thing I was trying to sell. I sold some little things with no flukes, but I was selling a car that's currently on one of the Hawaiian Islands, and my friend was doing the thing, and the next day the woman changed her mind completely, and I'm a pretty understanding person, or I try to be, and I didn't want her feeling regretful and feeling ripped off or whatever it was. And so I said, you know what? Okay, you can change your mind. But then it ended up with a whole headache for me with this title that's now filled out, and I need to go back to the islands to deal with essentially. So the lesson is we can push ahead despite transits, but hey, let's heed the guidance if we have it. Speaking of Mercury retrograde, Mercury is now direct, but treat it with some patience and caution when it comes to things of commerce, communication, and travel. Because we have something called post shadow, pre and post shadow, my friends. And on September 7th, Mercury, which is now direct, will actually be squaring the planet of disruption and surprise, Uranus, which goes retrograde tomorrow. And as you can see, we have all the outer planets retrograde in the month of September. So even though Mercury is direct, there may still be some patience required of you, and it might not, especially on the 7th, be a great time to go forward with really important paperwork or deals. You might have some disruptions. Now, Mercury squares Uranus. This is the third time it will be exact in that aspect on the 7th of September. The last time it went into that aspect, we had Joe Biden step down, and we also had the CrowdStrike outage where someone was uploading something to a server and it created a whole debacle where planes were grounded, people were sleeping at airports, and it really even, I think it had some potent after effects even after that aspect went exact, because it just was causing some disruptions in the travel. I was traveling last month. All right, let's go over the key dates for September. So we have an eclipse this season. So all those outer planets slowing down is inviting us to slow down too, my friends. When eclipses occur, it's usually a time of potent endings and potent new beginnings. So if we can view this as an initiation rather than disappointment or frustration, we're really winning. Um, Eclipses might take things out of our life or have things not be as effective as they once were, but it's inviting us to really go with the flow. So the eclipse is occurring with the full moon on the 17th towards the end of the month, and it's in Pisces in Purva Bhadrapada nakshatra. So if something is trying to exit your life, just be graceful and let it, because there could be another door that wants to open. In fact, there very well probably will be. And if, we've been procrastinating something, an eclipse can really help us take that ending seriously. And though there's a period of emptiness, sadness, contemplation, when we lose something or have that feeling of loss, if we can really focus on it being a door rather than a wall, we're again doing really well. The mutable signs are going to be in the tropical zodiac are going to be the most affected by this eclipse. Tomorrow we have our new moon. New moons clearing space, right? It's in Virgo or Purva Falguni Nakshatra, which is all about enjoyment of the finer things, beauty, and just those kind of sensual pleasures, right? So the bed is the symbol. It could be a great new moon to tidy up your home, do some feng shui, get it nice and spick and span, clear the energetic way for this eclipse on the 17th. I also want to note with this full moon, it is the beginning of an important time on the Hindu calendar of honoring the ancestors. We know across many cultures, the fall is when the veils are thin, the liminal is more in touch with our tangible, mundane reality. And so this is a really pivotal time to set up an altar for your ancestors, donate to causes in the name of your ancestors, really honor those who have made sacrifices for you to be here. And in the West, we tend to take that a lot for granted. But keep that in mind, this period of the 17th to the 2nd, especially if you know Vedic astrology and you have what's called Pitru Dosha in your chart, which is really a mark of heavy ancestral karma that needs to be relieved. One of the remedies for that is honoring ancestors. So, especially if you have that in your chart, and if you need help knowing if that's in your chart, you can book a session with me below. But this is common in people who have a lot of things that are like trauma and things that are ancestrally inherited, and that can manifest in your life as a lot of hardship, specifically if you have like a genetic condition or issues within your children and offspring. It's very likely that this Pitru dosha is present in the chart. And the beauty of knowing these challenges through the lens of the spiritual science of astrology is that we have remedies. And it's good for all of us to really honor our ancestors, but especially if you have that challenging chart placement. So keep that in mind. This is a period to really do that work. On September 2nd, we have Mars squaring Neptune. This can lead to accidents or kind of aggressive water forces, whether it be flooding, tsunamis, shipwrecks, you name it, can also all coincide with a Mars square to Neptune. On the 7th, as I mentioned, we've got that Mercury Uranus square where Mercury's not retrograde, but it is in a very kind of precarious position on the 7th. On the 15th, we have a beautiful exact Venus-Jupiter trine, and I'm going to talk more about that in my Days of Harmony, but you could use this day as a beautiful election or a day to select to get good results in a project, an endeavor, an undertaking that you've been wanting to make. It's a great day to kind of win favor in an area of life. And then on the 18th, we have Mercury opposite Saturn. That can kind of slow down transportation, cause delays, and just blockages. So keep that in mind as well. Let's go over the days of intensity. So we've got the 6th, the 11th, the 17th, and the 26th of September. On the 6th, we've got Moon squaring Pluto, Mercury squaring Uranus. That's an accident alert. And the Sun is opposite Saturn. On September 11th, we've got the Moon opposite Mars, the Moon squaring Neptune, and Venus opposing Chiron. On the 17th, it's a lunar eclipse. It's a good day to lay low. Just be gentle with your physical body too. Physical bodies can be affected by eclipses. Moon will be conjunct Saturn during the eclipse. Again, just emphasizing that finality or endings that might want to be taking place, and it could be heavy. And it will also be squaring Jupiter. The Sun will be opposing Neptune, and Mercury will be opposite Saturn. Just respect that the energies want you to slow down. On September 26th, the moon is opposing Pluto and squaring Venus. This could create tensions in the realm of finances or relationships. Let's go over my favorite, the days of harmony for the month ahead. While there are heavy energies, there's always light in there as well. So, we on the 9th have a beautiful trine of the moon with Neptune, and Venus is coming into that trine with Jupiter. It won't go exact until the 14th, but it's still in orb. And on September 9th, the moon will be in the nakshatra Anurata, the star of success, which is great for any group-related activity, any managerial-related activity, for finance and accounting things, and researching, studying, going into the hidden things like the occult when Anurata, the moon, traverses this nakshatra. On September 12th, the moon trines Mercury, and Venus again will be coming into that trine with Jupiter. This can be a good day, a little break with all the Mercury debacles to really have some clear communication. This is a day where the moon will be in Purva Bhadrapada. It's a purification nakshatra. It can settle debts. I feel like we can also just settle any disputes or any misunderstandings, miscommunications that may have taken place in prior months. It's also really good for performance or marriage and sexual activities. On September 14th, Venus goes into that exact trine with Jupiter, and the moon will be with Pluto, which is normally can be intense, but it can be very transformational. If you have to start something or make a move, this is the day for it. The moon will be in Uttara Ashada, which is great for laying new foundations and moving into new properties if you need to do that. On September 15th, we've got a beautiful grand trine with the moon, Jupiter, and Venus. Again, and this is in Dhanishta. The moon will have moved into Dhanishta on the 15th, which is amazing for treating illnesses and ailments. I am not a medical professional, but if you have an important, checkup, doctor's appointment, or procedure/healing therapy, this would not be a bad day to choose. It's also good for any financial transactions. So any sale that you've been holding off on, which would be very advantageous probably for you to do so, the 15th would be a great day to really finalize that sale that you've been maybe putting off. It's also great for gardening or commencing any sort of educational venture. If there's a class or school you want to apply for or enroll in. And on the 24th, we've got the moon with Mars trining Venus and Saturn. The moon will be in the destructive nakshatra of Ardra. It's a fierce nakshatra, and it's all about discarding the old, demolition, and removal of anything that stands in our way. So we think of demolition, destruction sometimes as maybe a negative thing. But if we're getting rid of something that needs to go, it can be very, very helpful, particularly in the example to give a metaphor of removing something from the body that does not belong there. So it's great for legal matters as well, and anything where you have to really remove something and get rid of it. Maybe it's a person from a company, I don't know. But it's also not good to keep in mind. It's really good to avoid any startings on the 24th. If you're going to do that, stick to the 15th, because under Ardra, it is not auspicious for things like marriage, construction, or beginning of a major project, because it's a nakshatra more about removal. I hope that this forecast was helpful. If you guys want to share any of your experiences with the recent astrological waves, please comment below. I love hearing from you. Any topics you'd like covered, leave a note. As always, like, share, subscribe. It really supports my work, and have a beautiful month ahead.